Listen, let me tell you something. A lot of people ask the question, how do I know if he really loves me? And I'm going to tell you right now, sometimes the answer is not hidden in big dramatic gestures. It's not always in expensive gifts, and it's not always in what you see on social media. Sometimes the truth about a man's heart is hidden in the simple words that come out of his mouth. Because when a man loves you, really loves you, there are certain things he just can't help but say. Let me tell you something about men that a lot of people don't fully understand. When a man truly loves you, the way he speaks to you changes. His words start to carry a different kind of weight. They stop being casual, and they start becoming intentional. Because love, real love, has a way of showing up in a man's language. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the difference between a man who is just passing time and a man who has decided in his heart that you matter. You see, when a man doesn't love you, his words usually create confusion. He keeps things vague. He avoids saying anything that sounds like commitment. He'll talk to you. He'll joke with you. He might even flirt with you. But when it comes to real substance, the kind of words that show direction and purpose, those words never really appear. That's because a man who isn't serious always keeps one foot out the door. His language reflects that hesitation. But when a man loves you, something shifts inside him. Suddenly his words start showing responsibility. He begins saying things that include you in his plans. Instead of talking only about himself, he starts speaking about the future in a way that connects the two of you. He might say something simple like, well, figure this out, or don't worry, we're going to handle it together. Now, to some people, those words might sound small, but they carry a powerful message. Because when a man says, we, he is mentally placing you in his life as a permanent part of it. That's a big step for a man. Men are naturally wired to guard their independence. So when a man starts speaking in a way that blends his life with yours, that's not accidental. That's his heart slowly revealing itself through his words. He may not always make dramatic speeches or grand declarations, but his everyday language begins to show that you matter to him. Another thing you'll notice is that a man who loves you will speak in a way that protects your peace. He doesn't want you constantly worrying about where you stand. He doesn't want you lying awake at night wondering if he cares or if you're important to him. So he starts saying things that reassure you. He reminds you that he's there. He tells you that you're not alone. And those words are important because emotional security is one of the strongest foundations of love. A man in love also begins expressing appreciation. He notices things about you that others might overlook. And instead of keeping those thoughts to himself, he says them out loud. He tells you that he respects you, that he admires you, that he values what you bring into his life. Those words are not just compliments. They are reflections of how deeply he recognizes your presence in his world. But here's the most important part. When a man truly loves you, his words stay consistent. They don't change depending on his mood. They don't disappear when things get difficult. They remain steady because they come from a genuine place. A man who loves you speaks with clarity, purpose, and honesty. And over time, the things he says start building trust because you realize that every word he gives you carries the intention of someone who sees you as part of his life. Let me explain something important about men and love. When a man is truly in love with you, you will hear it in the way he talks about the future. His words will start including you in places where you were never mentioned before. A man who loves you doesn't just talk about tomorrow like it's something he will face alone. He begins to speak about tomorrow as if you are already standing beside him in it. Now understand this, Men don't naturally rush into talking about the future with someone unless that person means something real to them. A man protects his plans the way he protects his freedom. So when he begins saying things like, next year we should travel somewhere together, or one day I want us to have a place like that, he's not just making casual conversation. What he's actually doing is revealing that in his mind you are becoming part of his long-term picture. And you've got to listen carefully to those moments, because sometimes they appear in small sentences that people overlook. A man might say something simple like, when we get through this, or one day we'll laugh about this. Now, those words might not sound like a big romantic declaration, but they are extremely powerful. Because when a man speaks like that, he is mentally placing you beside him in situations that haven't even happened yet. You see, when a man is unsure about you, he avoids those kinds of statements. He keeps everything focused on the present moment. He might enjoy your company. He might spend time with you, but he won't build verbal bridges into the future. That's because he doesn't want to create expectations he's not ready to fulfill. But when love enters his heart, his mindset changes. Suddenly he starts imagining life with you included in it. And when a man imagines something strongly enough, eventually it comes out in his words. He starts speaking in ways that connect his dreams with your presence. Another thing that happens is that a man who loves you begins to talk about solving problems together. Instead of seeing challenges as his burden alone, he sees them as something both of you will face as a team. He might say things like, we'll get through this, or we'll figure it out. That word will becomes very important, because that single word shows that he no longer sees his life as a solo journey. And let me tell you something about that word. When a man sincerely uses, he's revealing partnership. He's showing that in his mind you are not temporary. You are someone he is willing to build something with. You'll also notice that he becomes more open about his goals and ambitions. A man in love begins sharing the things he wants to accomplish, not just because he wants you to know about them, but because he's curious about how you might fit into that vision. He might ask your opinion. He might want your support, and sometimes he might even adjust his plans so they make sense for both of you. That's not weakness. That's emotional investment. A man who truly loves you doesn't just imagine success for himself. He begins imagining success that includes you standing right there beside him. And every time he speaks about that kind of future, he's quietly telling you that in his heart, you're not just part of today, you're part of where he believes his life is going. Let me tell you something that a lot of people overlook when it comes to love. One of the clearest signs that a man truly cares about you is the way he speaks when it comes to your feelings. A man who loves you doesn't just focus on what he wants. He begins to care deeply about how you feel, and that concern starts showing up in the things he says. Now understand this about men. Most men are not naturally emotional communicators. Many of them grow up learning to hide their feelings, to stay strong, to avoid vulnerability. So when a man starts speaking in a way that shows he cares about your emotional world, that's not something small. That's actually a big step for him. It means he has opened a door inside himself that he doesn't open for just anyone. You might notice it in simple moments. Maybe you're having a tough day and he says something like, "Talk to me, what's going on?" That might sound like an ordinary question, but what it really means is that he wants to understand your world. A man who doesn't care will brush past your emotions. He'll change the subject or ignore it. But a man who loves you leans in. He listens. And sometimes it shows up when he says things like, "I don't want you to feel that way," or Tell me what I can do to make it better. Now, those words carry responsibility. Because when a man says that, he is admitting that your happiness matters to him. He's not just thinking about himself anymore. He's thinking about how his actions affect you. Another powerful thing you'll hear from a man who loves you is reassurance. He doesn't want you walking around unsure about where you stand with him. So he says things that calm your doubts. He might say, "I'm not going anywhere," or "You matter to me." Those words might seem simple, but they create emotional security. And emotional security is one of the strongest foundations of any relationship. A man who loves you also becomes careful with his words. He understands that what he says can either build you up or break you down. So instead of speaking carelessly, he begins speaking with intention. He thinks about how his words will affect you. He doesn't want to hurt you, and when he realizes he has hurt you, he's willing to acknowledge it. That's another thing you'll notice. A man who truly loves you will say something many people struggle to say. He will say, "I'm sorry." Now that might not sound extraordinary, but it actually shows emotional maturity, because apologizing requires humility. It requires admitting that your partner's feelings are just as important as your pride. You'll also hear appreciation in his voice. He notices the little things you do, the ways you support him, the ways you bring light into his life. And instead of taking those things for granted, he says it out loud. He might tell you he appreciates your kindness, your patience, or your strength. Those words come from a place of genuine recognition. Over time, the pattern becomes clear. His words consistently show care, respect, and empathy. They show that he is emotionally invested in you. And when a man reaches that point, when he begins speaking in ways that protect your heart and nurture your feelings, that's when you know his love is not just something he feels quietly. It's something that naturally flows out of the way he talks to you every single day. Let me tell you something about men that many people don't talk about enough. When a man truly loves you, his words begin to carry a sense of responsibility. You see, love for a man is not just a feeling. For many men, love activates a deep instinct to protect, to provide, and to stand up for the person who matters to them. And that instinct slowly begins to appear in the things he says. A man who loves you doesn't speak in a careless way about your place in his life. Instead, his words start showing that he feels accountable for the relationship. He might say things like, "I'll take care of it," or "Don't worry, I'll handle this." Now, some people might hear that and think it's just confidence, but there's actually something deeper behind those words. What he's really expressing is that he sees himself as someone who should be reliable for you. Men often show love through a sense of duty. When a man cares deeply about a woman, he begins to feel that her well-being matters to him. That feeling doesn't always come out in emotional speeches. Sometimes it comes out in practical statements that show he is ready to step up when needed. He might say, "If you need anything, call me," or "You don't have to deal with that alone." Those kinds of words reveal that he wants to be someone you can depend on. Another thing you'll notice is that a man who loves you begins speaking in ways that defend and respect you. If someone disrespects you or speaks badly about you, he won't stay silent about it. He might say something like, "That's not how you talk about her," or "You don't understand who she is." Those words show that he values you enough to stand up for you when it matters. Respect is a powerful part of love for a man. When he truly respects a woman, he doesn't allow people to diminish her value. And when he talks about you to others, his words reflect admiration rather than indifference. He might tell people how hardworking you are, how supportive you are, or how proud he is to have you in his life. Those statements reveal that he sees you as someone important, not just someone temporary. A man who loves you also begins speaking with a tone of commitment. He stops talking about the relationship like it's something fragile that might disappear at any moment. Instead, he speaks as if the connection between you is something worth protecting and maintaining. You might hear him say things like, "We're going to make this work," or "I'm here for the long run." Those words carry weight because they show he's not thinking about an easy exit. You may also notice that he starts considering how his decisions affect you. Instead of acting completely independently, he might say things like, "I want to make sure this works for both of us," or "Let's talk about what you think." When a man begins including your perspective in his choices, that shows respect and emotional investment. Over time, the pattern becomes very clear. His words consistently reflect responsibility, protection, and respect. They reveal that he doesn't just enjoy your presence, he values your place in his life. And when a man reaches that point, when he starts speaking as someone who feels responsible for protecting the relationship and honoring the woman he cares about, it becomes obvious that his love is not shallow. It is rooted in a deep sense of commitment and loyalty. Let me share something important with you about the way a man speaks when he truly values a woman in his life. When a man is deeply connected to you, appreciation begins to show up in his words. And I'm not talking about empty compliments that people throw around just to sound nice. I'm talking about the kind of appreciation that comes from someone who genuinely recognizes your presence in his life. You see, a man who is only casually interested might say nice things once in a while. He might tell you that you look good or that he enjoys your company. But a man who truly loves you begins to notice things about you that go far beyond the surface. He starts paying attention to your character, your effort, and the way you impact his life. And those observations slowly become part of the way he speaks to you. He might say something simple like, "I appreciate the way you support me." Now that sentence might sound ordinary, but it actually carries a lot of meaning. Because appreciation means he's paying attention. It means he's not taking your kindness or your effort for granted. Many people go through relationships where their contributions are invisible, but when a man truly values you, he makes sure you know that what you do matters. Another thing you'll notice is that his words begin to acknowledge your strengths. He might tell you that you're strong, that you're patient, that you inspire him in ways he didn't expect. Those kinds of statements reveal that he's not just enjoying the relationship, he's actually learning from you and growing because of you. A man who loves you often feels proud of the woman he's with, and that pride shows up in the way he talks about you, not only to you but also to other people. He may tell his friends how intelligent you are or how supportive you've been during difficult times. He may mention the little things you've done that made his day better. When a man speaks about you with admiration, it shows that he values your presence in his life. You might also hear appreciation in moments when you least expect it. Maybe you helped him through a stressful situation, or maybe you simply listened when he needed someone to talk to. Later on, he might say something like, "I don't know what I would have done without you." Now, those words reveal something powerful. They show that he recognizes the role you play in his emotional life. When a man truly appreciates you, he also expresses gratitude for your patience and understanding. Relationships aren't always easy. There are moments of stress, moments of disagreement, and moments when both people feel overwhelmed. But a man who loves you acknowledges when you've stood beside him through those challenges. He might say, "Thank you for sticking with me," or "I appreciate how you handled that." Those words show humility and respect. Another sign of appreciation is that he notices the small details. Maybe you encouraged him when he was doubting himself, or maybe you made an effort to understand his dreams and ambitions. A man who values you doesn't overlook those things. He mentions them. He lets you know that your support made a difference. Over time, these expressions of appreciation create a powerful emotional connection, because when someone feels recognized and valued, the relationship becomes stronger. A man who consistently acknowledges your efforts, your strengths, and your presence is revealing that he doesn't see you as someone replaceable. He sees you as someone unique. And when appreciation becomes a regular part of his words, it shows that his feelings go beyond attraction. They come from a place of respect